Bhai, welcome to the show, and I'm really glad to have you on this show today. So you've spent a long time in capital markets, and you've involved a very clear investment philosophy over these years. So could you talk us through your journey as to when you started, how markets were and how they are today, and what has really been your drivers in terms of evolving a framework and philosophy?
Well, I think over last 3 decades in general and 2 decades in particular, there is a dramatic transformation of our markets from the kind of relatively primitive and callow kind of markets that we had. Our markets have become far more contemporary, far more sophisticated, far more mature. Secondly, if you see the behavior of the market in terms of transition to be able to distinguish between the good, the bad and the ugly, which wasn't always evident in the markets of the earlier times. But today you can very clearly see how markets beautifully distinguish between the good, the bad and the ugly. So if we see, markets are at relatively the highest point in the history, but preponderant percentage of the companies within the market are probably 50% or even lower than their previous peak, and that speaks about the beauty of the markets. Third, I think noise level has increased. There is an attempt to overanalyze, over-understand, over-reflect short-term rather than really ponder and think deeper and longer-term for the businesses. So noise, like in the society, has gone up. The noise in the markets also has assumed a very, very high proportion. Fourth, I would say markets have become much deeper, and therefore markets are now difficult for any individual entity or entities to really influence unduly for any length of time. And I think that is pretty good news. Also, overall, I think our markets are regulated quite well, and therefore these markets reflect really the markets which will show the power of the emerging India in terms of the growth of the businesses, the quality of those businesses and the value creation by those high quality businesses. I think our markets are now ready to reflect that deep opportunity and potential in a beautiful way.